Hi friends, I am so excited to be joined by Abigail Curtis today. A little background on Abigail. She's a doctor of veterinary medicine and graduate of The Ohio State University, as well as co-owner of Adventure Unleashed Dog Training. She's recognized as one of the top positive dog training experts in Ohio and joining me today to talk about all Adventure Unleashed Dog Training has to offer. Let's have a crazy dog lover chat. Abigail, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, yeah.
So Adventure Unleashed, Central Ohio-based training facility. Where did the idea for Adventure Unleashed come from?
So it's actually a bit of a story. Karen and I are business partners, and we met through Dog 4-H, essentially. We met through a training opportunity we had through Dog 4-H, and we started running, as part of it, we started running a camp for teenagers and their dogs, where they'd come down and learn about dog training, and actually brought their dogs down, and they learned about dog training and got to play in all sorts of different dog sports. And so it sort of grew off of that we really realized from there. Neither of us did a lot of dog training before that, but you had to become a good dog trainer we trained our own personal dogs, but we weren't working with clients or anything like that. But you have to be a pretty good dog trainer if you're going to work with teenagers, because they're very harsh critics, and they'll let you know if you did something wrong. So we started learning about dog training, not just training your own personal dog, but how to train dogs and train clients. And that's where Adventure Unleashed came from, in that we wanted to start to apply the things we had learned. We really just discovered that we loved doing it. And so we started teaching people and their dogs and coming up with programs so that people could love being with their dogs.
Now, you kind of glanced over the part about you and Karen learning how to work with other people and train their dogs. That wasn't just you guys looked up on the internet a couple techniques. You guys are extremely qualified and have taken a lot of classes, seminars. You hold a lot of titles to help people train their dogs. What are some of those classes and titles that you hold?
Yeah, so we both really value education. So by training, I'm a veterinarian, graduated from vet school. And so I really value the science behind all of this. So both of us, I'm a vet, and both of us are what's known as a certified professional dog trainer, which is the only organization that's sort of an independent certification of dog trainers. So it's not that you do their course and then take their test. It's just a test that anyone can take. You have to demonstrate you've had experience and hours and experience training. But then you also have to demonstrate that you have the knowledge to underlie all of that with a examination that they put together. And so we're both certified professional dog trainers as well. And we do at least 30 hours of continuing education. Karen and I are always going to different seminars, bringing seminar hosts in so that our local community can learn from them as well, so that we can be not only the best dog trainers for our clients, but also the best trainers for our clients. And we also, I always forget about this one, but we're both faculty members in an organization called Tag Teach, which is specifically designed to help teachers become better teachers, and a methodology for how to be a better teacher, a more efficient, effective teacher. And so we're both faculty members with that organization as well. We worked our way up through the ranks. That's one of the things we came through when we were like, oh, we have a bunch of teenagers and we need to know how to manage their behavior and how to help them learn efficiently. We discovered this Tag Teach, and we worked our way up through the ranks of their learning all the things that they had to teach us. And so now we're both faculty members with Tag Teach as well.
That's a lot of training that most dog trainers or people that call themselves trainers around Central Ohio don't have. And that provides a great base, not just for dog sports, which when I think of dog training, I think of dog sports. So there's agility, the jumps in tunnels, there's scent work where they sniff things out, obedience. There's all kinds of dog sports, but that isn't your main focus at Adventure Unleashed. You have all those sports, but you also have some pretty cool programs that help just the average dog owner, someone that has a pet that wants their pet to behave. that wants their pet to be a good citizen, that wants to enjoy their dog, so they don't know where to start, they come to you. You have a couple programs specifically for puppies. So if someone has a puppy and they come to you, what are some of the puppy programs that you offer?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So my big passion, I love dog sports. I love competing in dog sports with my own personal dogs, but I always tell people almost all dogs at the end of the day are pets. Like they're to live with us. We have them because we love them and we want to enjoy their life with them. And so my goal is not just to have dogs be good sports dogs, but also have them be good pet dogs so they can go places. I can enjoy my time with them, and they, enjoy being pets with me. And I find that I can make the biggest impact when I get to start with puppies, because I can set both the puppies and the owner's expectations up really well. And I can help support them through all those puppy phases so they end up with a dog that grows up to be what they were looking for and what they wanted out of a dog. Um, so, one of our sort of most unique program is our puppy day school program. It's a drop-off based program. And the way we designed it is we wanted to sort of merge the gap. When you get a puppy, Karen and I always joke, a puppy is like a full-time job practically, because they are into everything. They need to learn so many things in order to be good pets for us that uh, most people already have a job, and they can't spend all of that time teaching their puppy everything it needs to know. So we're able to bridge that gap. And so puppies get dropped off with us 2 days a week. So you still have plenty of time to learn to bond with your puppy and for your puppy to learn how to live in your life, not just in a dog trainer's life, which is much different than an average pet dog life. So they get plenty of time to bond with you and learn how to live in your life. But they get to come and they get to socialize and spend time with their friends and learn important dog social skills. So they go through some play groups, they get some exercise that way. Then we also take them on walks where they get to go out and see the world. So we'll take them. We are lucky in the place we're in that we have a bunch of local businesses that we can walk by so they can see traffic and people and get all sorts of opportunities to see the outside world, which makes them much better pets down the road. They've seen lots of things. They know how to react to all these things and situations we might expose them to. And then they also learn some manners as well. So we also do manners-based training sessions where they're learning those things that are going to help them be a good companion down the road. So they're going to learn, we try to emphasize and be really efficient about our training. So we try to emphasize things like they learn to wait patiently for food. I think it's a really important thing for dogs to learn. So we try not to do sort of your traditional skills-based stuff. What I try to tell people is I'm teaching the dog to make good choices, right? I'm teaching them so I don't have to nag them about things. They're learning, oh, if there's a plate of food around and I sit and wait over there, I'm likely to get reinforced for that as opposed to trying to jump up and steal the food. So I don't have to tell my dog, hey, leave my food alone. They start to learn to make the good choice all on their own. Oh, if there's food available, my appropriate response is to lay down over there and wait patiently. So we try to be really practical and efficient about our training sessions. So they learn to walk nicely on a leash, they learn to leave food alone, they learn to greet people politely, and they learn how to wait if I need them to wait somewhere. So we try to be really efficient about it. And that's our puppy day school. So I find it's really nice because they get that mix of both mental and physical exercise. So it really starts to meet the needs of that puppy and help them grow into a really good adult dog.
And I like the term you use, good choices. Dogs, their good choice, or I should say, a good choice to a dog would be, I want the food, I'll take it. That gets them
Right.
what they want. Dogs are not people. They don't think that will upset us. So starting them at a young age where they learn people have expectations, people have rules. You will get that food, but you don't need to take it yourself. Let's think that through. And I like to use with my dogs when they make a good choice. I say good choice. They don't understand that. However, it's a reminder to me that I need to communicate in ways that they understand. And setting them up for success as a puppy is great. And puppies are so cute. They're so excited. But puppies grow up and they will bring those bad manners or bad habits with them through life. So starting them off this way, they get to enjoy being a puppy. They get to socialize with other dogs, learn dog behavior, but they also get what we want out of it. So it's a win-win.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And then we found that our puppies, by the time they hit about a year, they're doing really well. But a lot of times they're needing more exercise, right? Than their people can give them. Those 9 month to 18-month-old puppies need a lot of exercise, which is where our play and learn sort of program comes in, because it bridges that gap between your puppy has learned a lot of manners, is doing really well, but if they don't get enough exercise, they are in your hair and they're being obnoxious and they've developing all these bad habits that we don't want to see. They still need that structure of the training and they still need the exercise in order to be good dogs. We all are sort of feeling a little bit this, being quarantined and stuck in our house, that you have a lot of pent up extra energy. So we know what that's feeling like. So that's our play and learn, is they come and they spend a lot of time running around and socializing, and then we'll do group based manners training. So it's still maintaining all of the manners that they learned as young puppies. They're still remembering how to sit and wait politely, even with all their friends out. They're still remembering how to greet people politely, how to wait at doors, all of those manners that they learned as puppies, still being reinforced, but they're also getting that exercise and getting those needs met as well, so they can be good dogs when they go home.
Now, we both know that the biggest part of dog training is not actually training the dog, it's training the people how to communicate with their dog. And you work really hard with all of these manners. I see these puppies when I take mine in for grooming, and I see everybody playing and behaving themselves so well. What happens when they go home? It's not just a light switch. They don't go, okay, I did this in puppy day school, and all my teachers at puppy day school, they expect me to do ABC. At home, how do owners know, okay, we need to do ABC at home to continue that structure?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. And part of built into our school is sort of a parent teacher conference, essentially, where we meet with you and we show you what your puppy knows. And so it's a really good way to transfer it. A lot of times, what we find with our puppies is they actually start to, because of the way we teach it, people will start to notice it bleeding into home, and we tell them, oh, reinforce all of that. And we find that people are really good. People are really good at reinforcing things. Just a lot of times it's not things they actually wanted to reinforce, right? Their dog is jumping up on them and they're petting them. And all the puppy's learning is, oh, I get lots of pets for jumping on a person. But if we can start to sneak in those good behaviors and they can start to notice them, so they notice that moment when they were out on a walk and their puppy sat before they went to go say hi to someone, and they reinforce it because it was something they actually wanted. So if we can get those behaviors to happen, people are really good at reinforcing them, and we can tell them, if you see your puppy doing something you like, make sure that you're reinforcing them and telling them they're a good dog and giving them, a treat or two for that. And because we've sort of taught their puppy that if something's not working, try something else, and we can teach our people to notice the times that puppies are being really good, it really transfers over really smoothly in a lot of cases. And so that one little lesson, and telling them and coaching them when they drop off and pick up, we help them troubleshoot if they're having some trouble and that kind of thing. But we tend to find it transfers over really smoothly because people are actually really good at reinforcing their dogs. They love their dogs and they like to tell them they're wonderful and amazing. We just need to give them something appropriate to tell them they're wonderful and amazing for.
I love puppies. I love training puppies. I love being around them, but I am not one that typically gets a puppy. I work with poodle rescue a lot, and so I get that 1 year old range. Anywhere from 10 months to 3 years old is when people start to go, this 50, 60 pound standard poodle is out of control. They've hit their teenage years. I don't know how to deal with this. I'm out. I can't do it anymore. They find me, Hosley, my standard poodle. He was dropped off at my door and they said, too much for us, we're done. So I don't have the luxury with a lot of my dogs to start them off in this kind of environment. The next puppy I get will definitely start off in this environment. But what about those of us who don't start with a puppy? We either see behaviors we want to modify, or if you're a family that went and adopted a dog from the shelter and now you have a dog and don't know what to do with it, do you have any programs for that? Not a puppy, but needs some help.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And it really depends on the things you're struggling with, right? Those 9-month-old puppies, those are the hardest because they're not they're not cute anymore, and they're usually basically their full grown adult size, and the behaviors they were doing that were cute when they were little are not nearly as cute anymore, and they've been doing them now for 6 months, and they're wearing a little thin. And even if you trained them perfectly, right, even if you had a wonderful amazing puppy, and you're a dog trainer, I had a puppy, and I'm a dog trainer. My puppy gets plenty of work. When they hit that teenager phase, every now and then you're like, oh, you completely forgot what your name was today. So they can definitely be the biggest challenge. And supporting people through that is one of our really big goals. So we have, in addition to our drop-off programs, we find that a lot of times the older dogs, they aren't as flexible. So sometimes they don't adapt super well to our drop-off based programs. They've really bonded to their people, and they might struggle in their crates and struggle with the program. And what we don't want is to create more anxiety in dogs. So a lot of times the older dogs don't adapt super well to a drop-off program, which is why we also have programs where the people come with them. So we have group classes and private lessons that work really well for those guys, so that they aren't getting dropped off and they aren't having to adapt to a completely new situation. When a lot of times, if they've been adopted, they've already gone through a whole lot of change in their life. And we don't want to add to all the change that they're feeling, because that can be really stressful for dogs. So if depends on if you're looking for more of like just simple manners, and your dog does a pretty decent job focusing around other people and dogs, group classes are often a great option. You can learn some structure, you can learn how to do some manners. Your instructor can oftentimes give you good troubleshooting if you have a unique problem. But if you're having a struggle where you're like, oh, my dog, if I go to a group class, my dog is going to be wildly embarrassing, and they're going to bark and, just be all sorts of crazy, private lessons are actually sort of an undervalued resource. Your instructor can really help you in a private lesson be super fast and efficient and get the problems you're having under control as quickly as possible and sort of get you on the right path without distractions of all the other dogs in class.
I think some of the tones are, when we think of private lessons, it's, oh no, I did something bad, or oh no, this is completely out of my budget. I'm kind of out of a loss. Private lessons are great because it's not a regular thing. You don't sign up for 20 private lessons and say, I must use all of these. It's I have this issue and I really need help with this one issue. Let's work on that. Whether it is pulling on their leash because they're so excited to see other dogs, if it's excessive barking. I mean, a lot of those can be rooted in fear, or just overexcitement, and they want everything all at once. And a private lesson really isolates your problem and addresses that. So I appreciate you guys offering the private lessons. Group classes are what we typically think of when we say dog training classes. You guys have pretty small classes. How many dog and handler teams do you typically have in a class?
Yeah, we really try to keep them small so everyone can get attention. So we typically try to keep it at not more than 6 dogs in a class, and we try to set up. We have a big enough space that everyone can sort of have their own sort of personal working space, so the dogs can focus, and then we can add distractions in as they go. So we have little, I have to call them little like cubbies, and everyone gets a little cubby. And then as we're starting to add distractions, I can have 1 or 2 dogs come out of their cubbies at a time so they can see other dogs, learn to work around those distractions. But we're not trying to train them, in a playground, essentially. If you tried to take your child to a playground and have them sit down at the table and learn math, that's not going to be very effective. But if we can sort of reduce the distractions, teach them things, and then layer in the distractions. So we try to keep it pretty small so that there's not a lot of distractions. Your instructor can give you feedback, and we can manage the environment for everyone to be successful.
Once a dog has mastered all of these basic foundation skills, being a good pet, there are options beyond that to have fun with your dog. And a lot of them are doggy sports. And I am a huge fan of sports. You guys offer a ton of them. Some really unique ones for the area. Dog parkour. You have nose work classes. You have flyball. What other classes do you have, or other dog sports do you have?
So Karen and I always say that, for the first year or so, people train their dogs so that they're good pets and they have good manners. And then after that, they start training their dog because they found it fun and enjoyable. They like that, a lot of times they like that their dog is a little tired afterwards, right? Going to class makes them have to work. And it really increases their bond with their dog. It's an hour a week where you're dedicated to paying attention to your dog and you're sharing this time together, and it's sort of a guaranteed time for you guys to share time together. So we try to have a unique offering so that everyone can find something that fits really well with their dog. So we do parkour, which is going out into the environment, so going out to parks and different places around town, and your dog is learning how to go on, under, and around all sorts of different obstacles. Really great option. They're learning to focus out in all the distraction of the world. So that's great. We have some really great nose work instructors who are teaching a dog to find a specific scent and then tell their human where it is, ideally. We have flyball classes. So Karen and I have a flyball team as well, which is basically a relay race for dogs. They're running down over jumps, grabbing a ball, running back. So we do flyball as well. And then we also have an instructor who does agility as well, sort of foundation agility, fun little obstacle courses for your dogs.
And all these classes, they're not just for dogs that are going to go into competition later. You can take your dog through all of these different sports, find out what they like, what you like, and progress through that sport, or just keep taking different sports. These are all great activities for people and their dogs, but you don't have to participate in the competitions to take these classes.
Nope, absolutely not. That's one of the things I love about it is you can just spend the time with your dog. If you want to compete, absolutely you can, but your dog doesn't care about the ribbons. Your dog is just enjoying hanging out with you and having a fun time. So the competitions aren't really for them. They're more for you. So if you don't want to do them, you absolutely don't ever have to.
My dogs participate in a lot of different sports, and I've noticed with the ones I have now that they don't necessarily like to progress very far. They like a little sampling of everything. And my motto is dogs don't ask to do these sports. They don't go, you know what, today I want to do agility and I want to do the weave poles and I want to do the teeter totter and I want to jump. I wish they could tell me, but they can't. So we have a good time with it. Your training philosophy at Adventure Unleashed is all positive based. And there's no force, there's no intimidation. It's all have fun with your dog. So that's one of my favorite things about your organization is that you just have a good time. Every time you go in, it's about you and your dog as a team. So when dogs are getting ready to do sports, they can do a little sampling of everything. Is there an age where people must wait to start the sports, or is it try anytime?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And we work with a lot of puppies, so we get this question really regularly, whether it's simply just taking your dog out for a run or starting to do dog sports. And my basic philosophy is I want to wait until my dog is fully grown. So that depends on each dog. So your giant breed dogs take a long time to get fully mature and for their growth plates to close, where smaller dogs, they tend to be fully grown a little bit sooner. But if I'm going to do sports that require impact, so agility and flyball, I'm going to try to make sure that my dog is fully grown before I start doing those sports, and especially doing the things that require impact. There's a lot of things, foundation stuff that you can teach dogs when they're younger that don't have a lot of impact. So no jumping and sharp turns and runs and things like that. But I try to scale it and try to think about it. I'm not going to take my young little puppy out for a 4 mile run on concrete. That's going to be a lot of impact on their joints. But as they get older, I can slowly start to increase the amount of things they're doing. So we always try to, with every sport that we're doing, if we have a younger dog, we'll either set an age limit, or if we have a younger dog, we'll scale the exercises so that they're doing things that are safe and developmentally appropriate for them.
So for agility, for flyball, like you said, wait a little bit. I have a Great Dane and a Standard Poodle, two very different breeds, physically and mentally. And so it really is individual for that dog. But there are not only the foundations you do, but there are some activities that you can do regardless of age that don't put any strain on the joints. I'm big into nose work. That's something that a dog can do starting as early as you can get sent near them. And you also mentioned dog parkour. I don't think many people have heard of parkour, and you are very involved in it. In fact, you have started an organization and run an organization for titling and different levels of it. What is dog parkour?
Karen and I also, as part of our journey going through life, we practice human parkour, which is jumping around on benches and walls and those kind of things. And as a sort of a development from that, we created what's known as the International Dog Parkour Association, which is doing parkour but with dogs. So it's going out and finding things like benches and trees and teaching your dog how to interact with those in different ways. And that's a really great sport for puppies as well, as long as you're smart about the choices you make, because it creates really confident puppies. They learn to interact with lots of different surfaces in lots of different environments, which starts to help them learn that the world isn't a scary place. The world is a place of fun and excitement, that is, amazing for them to go out and explore, which turns into dogs that are more confident, and more confident dogs make better pets.
Some of those tasks or skills, I should say skills in parkour, I mean, we're talking 4 feet on something. So like jumping up or stepping up onto something that's elevated, 2 feet on, putting just front feet or back feet on for a couple seconds. Those are skills that not just are great for parkour, but these are skills for life. So your dog getting on the scale, the vet's office, getting 4 feet on, super important. Your dog going in something that has 4 sides, like a crate, or in my case with my Great Dane, a very small room. She is very scared of that. So we work really hard on going in spaces. But I love the most that you have a little category called creativity. When you're titling with your dog, they have to do certain tasks, and you video them and you submit the videos for approval. And then if they get approval, they get little letters after their names. There's the creativity part that I really like, that you get to take what is in that level and apply it to something fun and creative. What's some of your favorite creativity tasks that you've seen?
I've seen all sorts of people finding all sorts of cool things for their dogs. Like they had sort of 2 lines of rocks, and their dogs balanced front feet on one line, front feet on the other, and they moved actually sideways across the rocks. We've got some people who taught their dogs not just to go around an object, but to go around an object backwards. So they'd back up around an object. So that was super fun. Yeah, I think those are my 2 biggest ones that I've seen recently that sort of stick out in my brain as really cool, unique ways for a dog to interact with objects.
Are any of the parkour levels, are there any in-person events, or is this a go explore what you have around you and find ways for your dog to interact with those objects?
Yeah. So when we designed it, parkour, based on the human founders of the sports, it's designed to be non-competitive. And so it's all about you and the journey you're taking with your dog, and exploring the world around you. So that's why we try to make it. We do sometimes do in-person seminars and things like that, but it's really going out and then applying that to the environment you have. Everyone lives in a different place. Some people live in a downtown city area, and they have access to completely different things than someone who lives on a farm. And so it's going and really exploring with you and your dog working as a team, exploring the environment around you.
And a little side note to that, our Great Dane had surgery to repair her ACL in her knee, and she had done some beginning parkour skills in some of your seminars. And when she got injured, she had to use a ramp to get up into the car and up into the house, really anywhere that required her to lift a foot. And a 150-pound dog, if they don't want to move, good luck. And ramps are scary for some dogs, especially when they're big, they know it, and they feel stuff move underneath. So her preparation by doing things like this, getting her feet on different surfaces, letting her feet kind of move around on different objects, different textures, all of that made her more confident when she got hurt to try something a little bit new for her. So these dog sports are not just for competition, but they really are great for everyday situations your dog comes in contact with. Like you said, a confident dog is one that has experienced these different circumstances and has overcome any fear and goes, I can handle that. I'm not scared of that anymore.
I always tell people you don't want to find out 8 miles through a hiking loop when you have a rickety bridge to go across that now your 80-pound dog doesn't want to go across the bridge and you have to hike all the way back around. It's really nice to have a dog that's confident and is like, oh, that's a little weird. Let me think about it for a second. Oh, yeah, no, this is something I can definitely do. And they walk across the bridge really nicely and you can continue on your hike.
And not only is it great for just everyday situations, but there are always people that go, I'm going to start this. I'm going to take a seminar and try it out. I'm not competitive. I'm never going to get into dog shows. I just want the experience. And then they go, well, this is kind of fun. And maybe I want to do this a little bit more. So things like parkour and scent work and agility, it's great to experiment and then go, it's okay to want to be a little competitive. It's okay to want to go to these competitions. And competitions aren't always just about, like you said, those ribbons. I, like you, started in 4-H and grew up in the dog world. And I got to see my friends every weekend. So we would go to competitions and we would all sit together. And maybe my dog didn't have a great day. He's a dog. Things happen. But in the end, we got to sit around and talk all day, hang out. There's a lot of camaraderie in the dog world. And once you enter this crazy world, there's so many different things you can get involved in that competition is fun for people and dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. Like flyball, I always talk about my flyball family. So when you go to flyball tournaments, there's not a lot that are super local, but you take your team with you. So we have a team of 9 people in Columbus that we meet up every week. But then we go to tournaments, and tournaments are basically a whole weekend. Typically, they're at a fairground, and you're camping, and you get to see all your friends from all over different states that you haven't seen for a while, and you're just hanging out. And flyball is a unique. They call it like a no frill sport because we're basically everyone's like, why are you running flyball? What do you get? And we're like, oh, we get points on a computer system. Like we don't even get ribbons, but it's really going out and having fun with our dogs and seeing what they can do and sort of putting our training to the test a little bit, seeing what we now need to go back and work on, and getting to see all of our friends that we haven't seen for a while and see their dogs. And a lot of times we'll even run what's called pickup, where we're running on a team that's not just our team, but it's 2 or 3 teams where we put together and like, hey, we're all going to run together, and we get to spend a whole weekend. Once all the racing is done, now we're having a potluck and all eating together and having a great weekend just of all of our friends and our dog friends all together enjoying the same sport together.
So which one of your dogs is your flyball dog?
So 2 of my dogs, I have 3 dogs, and 2 of them are flyball dogs. So I have a dog named Flux, who is a Border Collie Jack Russell mix, and then a dog named Mouse, who is a Whippet.
How did they get their names?
Flux got his name. He had a litter name, and his litter was all named after units of measurement. And his unit of measurement was a measurement of magnetic flux. And that's where he got his name from. And then Mouse got his name because I wasn't intending to get him. So his registered name is Sneaky Little House Guest. And then his call name is Mouse.
That is adorable. And he's not a tiny dog, so it's not from his size.
No, it is not from his size.
I enjoy learning where people get their names, and I love when registered names and those long fancy names and their call names, what we call them, go together. That's adorable. Well, Abigail, thank you so much for coming today and talking about Adventure Unleashed. I encourage anyone that's interested about dog sports or learning more about how to make their dog a better citizen, reach out to Adventure Unleashed or me, and I can connect you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. It's been great talking with you.